Welcome back to Full-Fledged Otaku. Over the years, there have been countless anime released that we have grown to love or to hate. Some of these have been released a long time ago and has then received a good number of adaptations or feature films. One anime that falls into this category that is definitely hard to hate is InuYasha, which aired back in fall 2000 and finished airing in 2004. Since then, it has released 4 movies and has recently started airing its sequel, Yashahime, Princess Half Demon. It may have been a long time since you watched the original, or you might not have watched it at all. But not to worry, as this video is about things you should know about InuYasha before watching Yashahime, Princess Half Demon. Let's jump right in. Number 1. The Heian Period and the Shikon Jewel. The story of InuYasha revolves around the Shikon Jewel as much as it revolves around InuYasha himself. In the Heian period of Japan, with shoguns as leaders in a world riddled with wars, famine, and demons, there was a very powerful priestess named Midoriko. Possessing the power to purify a demon's soul, she made demons harmless by manipulating the 4 souls which all together live inside the heart. These 4 souls are namely Aramitama, which means courage, Nigimitama, which means friendship, Kushimitama, which means wisdom, and Sakimatama, which means love. Possessing these 4 souls at maximum, like Midoriko, forms a powerful balance within the soul that can be used for either good or evil. Aside from being very powerful, Midoriko was also very beautiful. Eventually, a man fell in love with her, but his heart was then filled with spite, lust, and hatred upon realizing that he could never have her. This made him a target for hundreds of demons which possessed him and transformed him into a demon himself. The man turned demon and Midoriko battled for days and nights, which would eventually lead to Midoriko's defeat if the battle kept on going. Long story short, the Shikon Jewel is the prison of Midoriko's soul and the demon's soul. Inside the jewel holds a continuous battle between Midoriko and the demon, between good versus evil. Being the holder of the whole Shikon Jewel can grant you a wish. However, possessing only a shard of the jewel can make a person more humane or demonic. After centuries of the Shikon Jewel being passed back and forth between humans and demons, the jewel ultimately ended up in the care of the priestess named Kikyo. Number 2. The Sengoku Era. InuYasha is half demon, having a human mother and a demon dog as a father named Toga. He also has a half-brother, Sesshomaru, who is a full demon. Of course, being half a demon entails that he doesn't fit in anywhere. The humans thinks he's a demon, while the demons thinks he's a human. With that being said, he seeks the Shikon Jewel in the hopes of being a full demon so that he can be more stronger and whole. This changes upon meeting Kikyo and them eventually falling in love with each other because instead of seeking the Shikon Jewel to be a full demon, he now seeks it to be human. While some people like InuYasha are interested in using the Shikon Jewel for good, there are also other people who intend to use it for evil. One of these people is a man named Onigumo, who hired a thief named Resetsu to steal the jewel from Kikyo. He fails to mention to Resetsu that Kikyo is guarded by InuYasha and the thief ends up losing an eye. This of course angers Resetsu and he ends up wanting revenge on Onigumo. Resetsu finds the inn that Onigumo was staying in, blew it up and threw Onigumo's charred body off of a cliff. Going back to Kikyo, she finds Onigumo and nurses him back to health to the point that he can speak again. Onigumo falls in love with Kikyo, but he realizes that he could never have her given his condition of not being able to move again. So he makes a deal with a number of demons in exchange for a new body. The demons devour his body and thus Onigumo is reborn as the half-demon Naraku. Naraku shapeshifts into either InuYasha or Kikyo to get them to fight or to hate each other, which would corrupt the jewel. Naraku mortally wounds Kikyo while appearing as InuYasha and then returning to the village as Kikyo, telling them that InuYasha is trying to steal the jewel. InuYasha senses something is wrong and returns to the village but is attacked by the villagers because of Naraku's lies. The barely alive Kikyo sees InuYasha fleeing with the Shikon Jewel and binds him to the Tree of Ages with a sacred arrow. Kikyo orders her sister Kaede to cremate the jewel together with her body so that she can take the jewel with her in the afterlife. Naraku spends the next 50 years or so waiting for the jewel's return. During this time, Naraku tries to remove the weak or the human part of himself, that is Onigumo. Naraku also curses a monk named Miyatsu with the wind tunnel, which is essentially a black hole on a person's hand. This gives the wielder the power to swallow everything in their path. However, over time, this black hole increases in size and eventually ends up swallowing the wielder. The wind tunnel is passed down from each generation of Miyatsu's family until Naroku himself would be killed. Number 3. The Modern Era. A girl named Kagome from the modern world falls through the Bone Eater's well and enters feudal Japan. Kagome is Kikyu's reincarnation and thus possesses the Shikon jewel inside of her body. Her first encounter with a demon is with Mistress Centipede, who pulls out the Shikon jewel from inside of her. For her protection, Kagome releases InuYasha from the Tree of Ages. Mistress Centipede is defeated. However, the Shikon jewel ends up in the stomach of a carrion crow named Shibugarasu. Kagome then tries to shoot down the crow with an arrow, and by doing so, hits both the crow and the jewel, which shatters it into shards flying across the sky. InuYasha and Kagome seeks to gather the sacred jewel's shards. Along their adventure, 3 new characters are introduced in the anime. The first one is a young fox demon named Shippo, who doesn't have full control of his powers but can create illusions and the like. The second one is Miroku, who is regarded as a pervert monk who scams people through fake exorcism. He was also actively searching for a woman to bear his child, which may seem weird and creepy at first, but it makes sense since he is the grandson of Miyatsu, who was the monk that Naroku cursed with the wind tunnel. He needs a child so that if he dies before killing Naraku, his child can take his place and instead be the one to kill Naraku to save their lineage. The last one is Sango. Basically, Naraku gathers the villager's best demon slayer and took control of a young boy named Kohaku and forces him to kill his father and the other demon slayer. Naraku then leads a horde of demons to the village to wipe out all humans there. Naraku sees Sango, who is the sister of Kohaku, who is still alive after the massacre of the demon slayers, and thus sends her out to hunt for InuYasha, who he blames for the destruction of the village. Naraku then revives Kohaku using a Shikon jewel shard and uses him as a puppet to further manipulate Sango. A witch demon steals Kikyu's bones and revives her, but she comes back to life furious with Naraku after what he did, so she quickly turns on the witch and kills her. Kikyu goes on to steal souls from the living so that she can live long enough to kill Naraku after what he did. This of course results to a weird love triangle between Kagome, InuYasha, and now the revived Kikyu. As the plot thickens, a new character named Koga is introduced. Koga is a wolf demon whose character solely consists of him being infatuated with Kagome. Sesshomaru, who is InuYasha's half-brother, is introduced. Sesshomaru is a full demon who hates humans and naturally hates InuYasha too. Sesshomaru is first introduced in the anime when he attacks InuYasha while looking for their father's sword, the Tessaiga. He believes that the Tessaiga is his rightful inheritance despite already being given the Tenseiga, which was given to him by their father to eventually teach him compassion. Sesshomaru learns that he cannot draw out the Tessaiga as he is a full demon. Eventually, InuYasha wins the fight and cuts Sesshomaru's arm off in the process. Naraku then meets Sesshomaru and offers him a human arm with the Shikon jewel shard inside it, which will allow him to act as a half-demon and thus allowing him to draw the Tessaiga. Sesshomaru's attempt to use Tessaiga ultimately fails and his anger turns towards Naraku. Relevant to this character growth, it is worth mentioning that although Sesshomaru hates humans, he eventually starts to like one human named Rin. Rin is a little girl whose family was killed by bandits, a traumatic experience that left her mute. Despite this, she is very kind and attended to Sesshomaru's wounds after his initial fight with InuYasha. Soon, Sesshomaru finds that Rin was attacked and killed by wolves. Using the Tenseiga, Sesshomaru brings Rin back to life and she serves as his subject alongside the extremely loyal imp named Jaken. Number 4. The Final Act. After a long training arc, a handful of episodes dedicated to collecting jewel shards and battling demons, the final act essentially consists of everyone battling against Naraku. Kikyu dies in the early stages of the final act after sustaining wounds from saving Miroku. Naraku absorbs the Shinken jewel and transforms, but is ultimately defeated after InuYasha and Sesshomaru team up and Kagome delivers the final blow with a sacred arrow. The wind tunnel on Miroku's hand vanishes, therefore saving his lineage from the curse, and Kagome is pulled into the timeline of the modern era where she has no recollection of what happened. InuYasha dives into the Shikon jewel and encounters the demons who controlled Naraku and the demons who fought Midoriko. In the modern world, Kagome touches the Tree of Ages where InuYasha was bounded to. The jewel warns her that she will always remain in her timeline unless she makes a selfish wish. This selfish wish will cause her to switch position with InuYasha, meaning she will be the one to fight the demons for eternity. InuYasha, however, manages to reach Kagome at just the right time, and together they destroy the jewel. After some time, Kagome decides to leave the modern world behind and joins InuYasha. At the end of the story, Shippo is trained to be a powerful fox demon, Sango and Miroku end up together and have 3 kids, Kohaku trains to be a powerful demon slayer, Rin lives with Kaida and is frequently visited by Sesshomaru, and Kagome and InuYasha are married to each other. What we've mentioned here does not consist of everything that happened in the InuYasha series. There may have been characters or events that we might have overlooked. However, what we've said here is surely enough to prepare you for Yashashime, Princess Half-Demon. Let us know in the comments if you would like a video on that as well. This is Full-Fledged Otaku, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated with our videos.